Hello, fifth graders. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday. We are going to get started on our math page today, and hopefully this math page will be a good review for you. We will do part of it together, and then we will also do the remainder of it on your own. So a lot of this page just goes based off of the very top where the instructions are. And so we'll kind of get a good feel for it, and then I'll let you complete the rest by yourself. So this page is called Order of Operations. And we've talked about this a little bit in class so far this year, but this page really hones in on it. So I'm going to slide the page out of the way. I'm actually going to put our whiteboard, or my whiteboard here, and we're going to talk about the order of operations. We have talked about in class about the acronym, Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally. I think we can get all those on the camera. There we go. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally is how we remember the order of operations when it comes to solving a math equation. So we remember that the P is the, reminds us that it is parentheses. I don't know if I can talk and write at the same time, but P is parentheses. And so any problem we come to first, we do the parentheses, which we have talked about a lot so far this year in math. Then the next one is exponents. And we've talked about exponents. Remember, exponents are these little bitty guys. We say that it would be 10 to the third power, and that would mean we do 10 times 10 times 10. So our paper doesn't do exponents today, but I do want you to remember that exponents is the second step. So we deal with our parentheses first, then we do exponents, then we do multiplication, then division, then we do addition, and then subtraction. So this is the order of operations when we solve a math equation. We always do everything in the parentheses first, then we deal with exponents, then we do our multiplication, our division, our addition, and our subtraction. Now, not every problem is going to have all of these things in it. Not every problem will have parentheses. So we can skip that step and move to the next one. Now, I've already told you none of our problems today will have exponents. So we're going to skip that one entirely today. But maybe your problem doesn't even have multiplication. Maybe it starts with division. So you would skip these steps and come down to division if there is no parentheses, no exponents, and no multiplication. Now, if there was division, we would divide. And then if there was addition, we would add. And then maybe that's where we stop. Maybe those are the only two functions that we have to do in our problem. So remember, you do have to go in this order, but if one of these is not in your problem, you don't have to do that step. So we want to remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So that's going to help us a whole bunch on our paper today, which I'm going to bring back over here. And on our paper today, it explains what these are at the top. It says, using the order of operation to solve multi-step equations. So it tells us that we will do the parentheses first. So for this problem, we would take care of the 25 and the 5. And we would add those together because that's what the sign tells us to do. And that would make 30. Now, everything outside of the parentheses stays the same. We don't do anything with that just yet. We just worry about parentheses first, and we get 30. So that's where this 30 comes from. Then we do multiplication or division. That's my dear. So we're going to do 30 times 2 because we want to do whatever is supposed to be multiplied together next. So 30 times 2 is 20. And notice they left, or sorry, it's 60. They left the 20 alone and they brought it down here to the next step of our equation. So the last step is addition or subtraction. So we would do 60 minus 20 equals 40. So these are the steps that we do, and notice that all of the stuff that we didn't deal with up here, we just brought it down here. All of the stuff we didn't deal with here, we brought it down here. And we just keep bringing that down until it's that particular sign's turn to be dealt with, or that operation's turn. So let's go ahead and get into what our directions here are telling us to do and solving these problems. So the first direction says, write the sequence for solving the equation. Now, a sequence is the order in which something takes place. So when we write the sequence, they've done the first one for us. They look at all of these signs here. We have a subtraction and a multiplication and an addition. And we remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And that reminds us that our multiplication is first. So we list the sequence, multiply first. Then we can add or subtract. Either one is completely fine. The addition and subtraction and the multiplication and division, you can switch around. The reason why I always like to do it this way is because it goes with our saying. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So if I were doing this problem, I would have written addition first and then I would have written subtract last. But it is okay to mix up the order of subtraction and addition and multiplication or division. That's why up here it's written as either or. Just as long as you multiply and divide before you add or subtract. So we're going to follow this sequence of steps to get our answer because the last direction says to solve. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to multiply 2 times 8 because those are the numbers being multiplied together. Well, 2 times 8 is 16. I like to write that above, if you can squeeze it in there. And then they're telling us we can subtract next. Now, you can add or you could subtract. It is totally up to you. I am actually going to add, and I'm going to do 16 plus 4. And 16 plus 4 is 20. And then my final step is to subtract, and that would be 29 minus 20. And that would give me 9 for my answer. And that's how we would get the answer, by going in order, doing the order of operations. So let's look at the next one, number 2. We're going to look at our signs, and we have a subtraction and a division. And then we can come up here and look, or we can remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, and we can see that division has to happen before subtraction. So right here, we're going to write that we're going to divide, and then a comma, and then we're going to subtract. And that's the order that we have to solve this problem. So the first thing I'm going to do is divide 14 by 7. 14 divided by 7, 7 goes into 14 2 times. So that's the answer to my divide, and now I can move on to my subtract. 21 minus 2 equals 19. So 19 would be my answer for that multi-step equation. Now we come over to number 3, and number 3 has got some different things going on. We see that there is a subtraction sign, a multiplication sign, an addition sign, but there's also parentheses. Now, if we look back over here, we have to do parentheses first. So anytime parentheses are there, that is always the first step. Then after my parentheses, I'm going to look outside of my parentheses and see which one of these I do next. Well, multiplication comes before subtraction, so I'm going to write multiply. And then my last step will be to subtract. Now, I'm going to solve this in the order in which I sequenced my steps. So I have to do my parentheses first. Well, in my parentheses is 2 plus 1. So we would put 3. Now, normally, we wouldn't do addition first, but because it's in the parentheses, it gets to follow the special rule. We always solve the things inside parentheses first. Now I have 3 and I have to come out here and do my multiplication, and my multiplication will be 3 times the answer to my parentheses. So 3 times 3 is 9. And then my last step is to subtract. 39 minus 9 is 30. Alrighty, let's move on. Hopefully you're kind of getting the hang of this. All right, down here for number 4, we're going to circle. We don't have any parentheses, so we get to skip that step. Circle our signs. And we have multiply and subtract. Well, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally tells me I have to multiply first. And then it tells me I have to subtract second. So this one's kind of a shorty one. So first we're going to do 16 times 2. And 16 times 2 is 32. Then I can subtract my 5. So 32 minus 5 is 27. All right, next I'm going to try number 5. This one has a lot of signs in it. Now, when I look at those signs, I have add, divide, and subtract. Well, please, no parentheses, excuse my, no exponents, no multiplication. Dear, there's some division. We're going to divide. And then my dear aunt, there's some addition, so we're going to add. Sally, there's subtract. So now I'm going to solve it in that order. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Then I'm going to add 5 plus 3, and this gets me 8. Minus 2, and that'll be 6. So in a way, this is very similar to how we do Speedy Sam in class, except we don't necessarily do the order of operations with Speedy Sam. If we did, it would definitely be a lot less speedy. But if you think about it with the addition and subtraction, 5 plus 3 minus 2 equals 6. That is very similar to what we do in Speedy Sam when we just have addition and subtraction. All right, I want you to try number 6 on your own. You can go ahead and pause the video if you need to. Try number 6. Write out the sequence of what you're going to do first, second, third, and so on. And then solve it and write your answer. After you've done that, go ahead and push play again on the video. All right, hopefully you've got your answer. The first thing we're going to do is we notice it has 2 signs, an addition and a multiplication, but then it also has parentheses. Parentheses are always going to be the first thing that we do. Then after I deal with my parentheses, I only have one symbol outside of the parentheses, and that is multiply. So 42 plus 8 is 50. And then 50 times 2 is 100. So hopefully you've got that one right. If you do, I want you to put a smiley face right here on number 6. If you didn't get it right, that's okay. Go ahead and circle number 6, but make sure you fix it so that you do have it right. So a smiley face if you got it, and then a circle if you didn't. Now, if we look down here, this next section just says to solve. So up here, we practiced making sure we were going in the right order. So we wrote out our sequence of steps. Down here, we're not going to write the sequence of steps, but we still have to go in the same order. So we're going to do just a few of these together. So the first one, we'll go down this row and do some of these together, and then I'll let you do the rest of them on your own. So for number 7, I'm going to circle my signs. And division happens before subtraction. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. 8 minus 2 is 6. Then for number 10 has parentheses. 8 plus 12, and then we have times 5. Well, we always do what's in the parentheses first. So 8 plus 12 is 20, and 20 times 5 is 100. Now down here, we still have parentheses, but they moved. They're now at the end. So we're going to solve our parentheses first. We don't just go from this side and work this way. We have to find the parentheses and the order of operations before we start working. So 5 plus 3 is 8. And 6 times 8 is 48. All right, I think we can probably solve the remainder of these on your own. So I'm going to leave the rest of these for you to solve on your own. Make sure you're circling your operations, and then make sure you're looking back up here if you're not super sure. You can even over here on the side of your paper do please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, if that will help you as well. Now, you could always put a little slash through exponents for right now because we're not doing exponents yet. All right, let's come down here and we're going to just look at a couple of these and explain them. It says, answer the question. If multiplication and division are in the same order, how do you know which to solve first? Okay, well, first, if anything's in parentheses, we would do that one first. But let's assume there's not parentheses. So if multiplication and division are in the same equation, we would solve, according to please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, multiplication. So we would solve multiplication first. And part of the reason we do that is because when we multiply, our number gets bigger. And when we divide, we're usually dividing a bigger number by a smaller number. So multiplication would be the first thing. Then number 20 says, if addition and subtraction are in the same equation, how do you know which to solve first? And again, if there's parentheses, we would do what's in parentheses first. But we would solve the addition first. Again, we look at our please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, and addition comes before subtraction in that order. So down here, you guys get to use your creativity. It says write 2 multi-step equations, use at least 2 different operations, and then solve the equation. So I don't want you to copy any of these equations up here, but what you're going to be writing is something that looks like these. You can use parentheses. You can use multiplication, division, subtraction, whatever you would like, addition, and you're going to write your own equation here, and then you're going to solve it and write the answer here. And you're going to do that twice. And you need to try to think of different operations to use in each of them. You can make it as long as you want, but don't go too far past the line. I know some of you will want to make up your own little Speedy Sam equation. So you can make it longer than these up here, but just make sure you can still solve it. And then remember, we're not solving it just like Speedy Sam. We have to follow, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay, so that is going to be some fun that you get to be creative on. We're going to flip it over and we're going to look at the back here. And it says, mark the equation that solves the problem. So these we're really going to have to think. And I'm going to walk you through one of them. And then the rest of the back, I'm going to have you work on your own. So I'm going to walk you through 23 and then 24 and 25. You'll work this similar way that we did to 23. And then down here, you're going to solve and label. We always label our answers. Solve and label for these word problems. Now, remember to go through and read these word problems several times. Make sure you are circling your information, you're underlining your question, you're boxing your keywords, and when in doubt, if you're not sure what to do, draw it out. Picture what is taking place. A lot of these word problems are so reliant on reading comprehension. You have to read and understand what it's saying so you know what to do. And that's why we read it through lots and lots of times. But I really want you to strive to do these word problems on your own. So let's come back up here to number 23. 23 says, Carmen earned $12 per night for babysitting, and she babysat for 2 nights. She also earned $37 for a house cleaning job. How much money did she earn? Now, normally we would look at this and we go, oh, Mrs. Purdue, I know that's a 2-step problem. Well, when we do the order of operations, we can put 2-step problems and we can make them into one long equation. So if we think through this, okay, we've got our underline here. How much money did she earn? And how much is going to tell us that we're probably going to be totaling our answer. So let's think this through. If she babysat and she got $12 per night and she did that for 2 nights, we would figure this out by doing either 12 plus 12, because that's 2 nights, or the short way, 12 times 2. So we know that 12 times 2 has to be somewhere in our equation, because that gets us how much she made for babysitting. Then the second part says she also earned $37 for a house cleaning job. Well, it just says that she earned $37. They gave us what she earned. So we're going to take that 37, and after we figure out 12 times 2, we have to do what to this 37? That's right, we have to add it to whatever this total is. Well, do we see an equation that looks like this? We have $12 times 2 plus 37 equals 61. Or this one has 12 plus 37, and then they multiplied them both by 2. So they added them together, and then they essentially multiplied both of them by 2. Well, she only earned 37 once, so we wouldn't want to multiply 37 by 2. Therefore, we wouldn't want to add these together. It's going to give us the wrong answer. Now, a lot of us would be a lot happier with that answer, but it is not the correct answer. This one looks like the information that we pulled out and in the correct order. So we're going to bubble in this one. Let's go ahead. We'll do 24 together. I'll let you do 25 on your own. Adam wants to know the perimeter. Ooh, perimeter. We see rim in there. Perimeter means that we are making a fence. Okay, we're measuring a fence. It's what goes around the shape. Okay, remember, area is how much surface it covers. Perimeter, we think fence. And rim helps us remember it goes around the outside, like the rim of a tire. So Adam wants to know the perimeter of his mother's rectangular garden. Oh, I'm feeling some drawing coming. The long sides measure 6 meters and the short sides measure 2 meters. What is the perimeter? Now, let's underline that question. What is the perimeter? Well, when I do perimeter, I know that generally I'm going to add everything up. When we do perimeter, we're adding. When we do area, we're multiplying. Now, this would be an excellent one that if you are having trouble picturing it, this is a perfect one to do. When in doubt, draw it out. So he said that Adam wants to know the perimeter of his mother's rectangular garden. That's your first clue. Let's make a rectangle. Okay, and the perimeter is how long it is around there, almost like we were building a fence. The long sides, that's this one and this one, measure 6 meters. The short sides, that's this one and this one, measure 2 meters. What is the perimeter? Well, when we're trying to find out perimeter, we are going to add this side plus this side plus this side plus this side. Well, which one of these equations shows us that that is what we're doing? Here we have 6 plus 6 plus 2 plus 2. 6 plus 6 plus 2 plus 2. I'm pretty sure that's the answer, but let's check out this next one. This one has 2 times 6, which that would work. There are 2 6s here. So we could do 2 times 6. But then it has plus 3. Well, I have 2 and 2 left, and that does not make 3. So this one can't be my answer. It must be the top one. All right, so the remainder of the page, number 25, and then our word prompts down here. I really want you to work through and think about those. Really try to see if you can solve them by yourself. I believe you guys can. Remember, when in doubt, draw it out. Circle all your information. Imagine what's taking place. Ask lots of questions about what's going on. And then on this side, remember to go back and do 16 through 18 and make up your fun own equations down here for 21 and 22. Alrighty, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I cannot wait to see you on Monday. I'm so excited. We have a short week next week, but it's going to be an exciting week, and I'm super, super excited to spend it with you. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.